Hello there, in this video I'm going to show you how to make this pumpkin applique. The first thing you're going to do is join my Facebook group. This is a totally free group to join, and you are going to get the applique pattern from my files section of my group page. Go ahead and cut out all of these pieces of fabric, it just makes it easier to do. And just because I'm putting this on a canvas frame doesn't mean that you have to. You can put this on a tote bag, on an apron, on absolutely anything that you can applique on. But if you are going to do this wall hanging that I'm doing, you're going to need a 12 by 12 canvas, 11 by 11 piece of quilter's batten, and at least 16 by 16 of a fabric background. The first thing we're going to do is take our pattern and we're going to start tracing with some steamer seam. I prefer to use steamer seam because it is a two-side adhesive. I have lots of scraps of my steamer seam that I keep handy, so when I do smaller pieces I can get them used up. Because this has a load of moving parts, you can choose to number every single section. Totally up to you what you want to do. You're going to go through and you are going to trace every little bit. You could do something like P1 and then I. P1 I. So pumpkin 1 eyes are right here. Then I recommend just not moving about and just finishing off the one that you're on. You shouldn't need a light box for this. I can clearly see everything that I'm doing. So I'm going to do P1 and then probably do N for nose. And then draw his mouth. You don't have to be absolutely precise. P1 mouth. With the stem, go a little bit over because we're going to tuck this underneath the pumpkin. So this is where the pumpkin is, and I've just gone a bit over. So I've basically done everything for pumpkin 1, and I'm going to put that in a pile and move on to pumpkin 2. So I'm just tracing out pumpkin 2, and where you can see pumpkin 1 here, we want to overlap that. So we want to make sure that pumpkin 2 can be pushed underneath so pumpkin 1 can rest on top of it. I have all of the pumpkin 2 piles here. And once again, pumpkin 3 needs a bit of an overlap as well. So I now have my 3 piles of my pumpkin stacks for my applique. So I'm now going to put these onto the fabric. I'm going to start with pumpkin 3 first, and I'm just going to make sure that all of my fabric pieces are nice and flat to use. So I'm just going to press with my iron. If you find that your steamer seam piece is a little bit bigger than the fabric, just trim it down a little bit. You're not cutting on the lines just yet, don't forget. So just trim around and make it so it'll fit perfectly onto that fabric. So as I said, this is two-sided adhesive. So when you peel this back, sometimes the glue likes to go on the side that doesn't have the drawing on. And it's fine, you just press with your thumb down. Make sure that you take that glue away and push it to the side that we need the glue on, and then carefully take the rest of the paper off. And then we can apply it to the reverse side of your fabric. I know you can't tell right now because this is a plain fabric. And then you are going to heat set that to the fabric at whatever the directions say. I will then put this over to one side while it cools down and get another piece. So I'm going to test this and make sure that my piece will fit nicely onto the fabric. This is the right side of the fabric. We're going to turn this over because we're going to do it on the reverse of the fabric. And then we're going to take the paper backing off the steamer seam. Again, the adhesive wants to be on the other side. So we're just going to encourage it to be on the side we want. Gently peel it off. Stick it to the reverse of your fabric and apply heat once again. Go through all of your sections, making sure you cut away so you can apply it onto the fabric, but don't cut on the line just yet. Make sure you've got a bit of excess because we want to make sure that all that glue is adhered to the fabric for our applique so it doesn't fray, or minimises the fray anyway. So that is pumpkin 3 complete. You're going to go through and do the other 2 pumpkins for the applique. I appear to have 1 piece of extra fabric in the pumpkin 1 pile. If you want to do a nose for it, you can do. It's up to you. I apologise for that. Must have been late when I was cutting this. So all of our pieces are now adhered to each of our fabrics. So starting with pumpkin 3, we're going to move all the other piles out of the way. So like I said, I'm going to be doing this as a wall hanging. So whatever you are appliquing this to, you are going to get the background fabric ready. So I'm just going to go ahead and press this so it's nice and flat. This is my 16 by 16 piece of fabric that I'm going to use as a wall hanging for my applique. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to find the center just by simply folding over once and then folding over again, just so I can find that center of my fabric. And I am going to just finger press the corner down and then I'll open it back up. So what I'll do is mark the center of that placement so I know where the center of my applique is going to sit. Now, because we are in the center here, we know that pumpkin 2 is going to want to be a roundabout in the center there. So I'm going to get pumpkin 2 actually and start with that because it is 2-side adhesive. So we can lay things down and pick them up. So what I'm going to do now is cut around pumpkin 2 of my applique piece around all the sections of the lines, and then we can take away the glue that we adhered to the back of the fabric and it's adhesive, so we can move it about to our heart's content. So I'm going to put pumpkin 2 down first because I can stick him down and then I can lift it back up and then stick it back down again. So I'm going to do the mouth and the eyes. So there's pumpkin 1. I haven't pressed anything yet because we don't want to do the final heat press until we've got all the other pumpkins down. So now I'm going to start with pumpkin 3. I've peeled back the adhesive and we want to lift up pumpkin 2 because you want to put pumpkin 3 just underneath it. That's pumpkin 3 finished, and then I'm going to go on to pumpkin 1. If you like your design but you're still struggling to get it centered, this is a trick that I'm going to give you. You can purchase one of these silicone mats for applique, and they always come with a Teflon sheet. If they don't have a Teflon sheet with them, they're really cheap and easy to buy. You're going to gently peel all the pieces of your pumpkin away. You still won't kind of all come together as one because they're not permanently adhered to each other yet. Place your wool mat down. Place your silicone sheet over the top. And as you can see, all the parts are coming away from each other. So I'm just going to put them back onto the silicone mat. And at this point, you want to make sure that everything is in the places that we want them to be, because now we're going to heat set everything so it's permanent. Place your Teflon sheet over the top, and then we are going to press with an iron. So everything is fixed into place, apart from the main backing that is going to come straight away. And this now acts like a whole sticker in order to place it onto whatever we want to place it onto. So I'm going to place it onto the back of my wall hanging. And here's the marking that I did before. So I'm going to place it so it's in the center. Then I can make sure this is perfect. This is exactly how I want it to be. Because once again, once I press this, it's going to be permanent. So I'm going to get my iron and set it all down once again. So now this is ready to go to the sewing machine to be stitched. If you don't want to stitch it, that's fine. You can go ahead and move on to the next part. I'm going to put some stitches onto this. One thing I've been doing just recently is creating myself a stitch guide so I know exactly what my stitches look like on my machine, because they do look different stitched out to what they do on your machine. Because I've been doing applique stitches just recently, I have looked in my book and I've found out all the different applique stitches I can use on my machine, as well as all the other different decorative stitches you can use. So right now I've gone through all of my applique stitches so I can see physically what they look like. With this particular blanket stitch, it likes to go forward and back and forward and back and catching over. However, this applique stitch just goes straight down. So in order to see what different applique stitches, I would highly recommend you go through all of your machine and stitch them all out. I did this like a scrapbook style. And then I also went through and did my satin stitch, all the different widths that I like in satin stitch, as well as all the different densities that I like the look of. Then I'm going through and I'm doing all of my quilting stitches. And some of these would look absolutely fantastic as well with applique. Like this one is gorgeous. And then some of these are really good as well. So I haven't quite finished doing all of my stitches on my machine just yet. I'm taking it a few days and doing a few at a time. So let's get back to the project. So I'm using the Baby Lock Altair. I have embroidery thread in the top thread, a 90/40 Microtex needle in my needle, and I've also got the brown thread in my bobbin. So on my machine, I'm going to go to quilting and I'm going to take that quilting stitch applique. And then I'm going to use a piece of scrap fabric to see how it looks. The blanket stitch is going the right way that I want it to do, but if I did want it to flip the other way, you can mirror it so it goes the other way. And then I'm just going to move it back to the blanket stitch that I want it to look like. If you have a pivot key on your machine, use it, and then use the reinforcing stitch at the end just to lock the stitch in. That's the first part of my blanket stitch done. I'm just going to go round here and attach this one here. I do recommend that you take your speed down on this project. So I did the blanket stitch perfectly around there, but because I had my speed on so high, I kind of did this messed up, so I'm going to have to unpick this and do it again later. For the eyes and the nose and the mouth, I'm just going to go with this piece and stitch middle, which is just your regular straight stitch. So this is what's going to happen if you forget to lower your speed down. You're just going to make a mess of your work. And there you can see where I slowed the speed down and I was able to do the blanket stitch so much better. The mouth and the nose and the eyes, I just did the regular straight stitch. And there it's the blanket stitch again. And then again around pumpkin number 3. Don't forget, everybody makes mistakes. I'm just going to unpick all this out and redo the stem. If you're having to unpick anything like this, like a blanket stitch, it might be best just to turn your work around and unpick it from the other side. And if you ever wondered what this rubber ball does at the end of a seam ripper, you can lightly rub at your threads, and generally it'll help you to easily ease any of them threads out. Once your stitches are removed, I just recommend grabbing hold of your iron and just pressing it down again. It helps to close some of them holes up before you go ahead and restitch. When you rush, things like this will happen. Stitches will ping out where they're not supposed to be. And also I had one happen here. So it's always best to go slow with these things so things like that don't happen. I don't like things moving on me, so I like to put a good amount of glue on my canvas. And you can reuse these when you get bored of the design. So this will temporarily just stick that down. I also have a full video on how to attach fabric to a canvas. I will link that to these videos so you can watch that. Take my design and just wrap it around my canvas to make sure I have excess, and I always will. The 16 by 16 is a good size in order to manage that. So I am now going to attach this to my canvas. I don't like to have the raw edges obviously, so I fold it over and then I can fold it over to the back, and then I will go ahead and staple. Once you have the top in place, go ahead and do the bottom. Honestly guys, don't buy wool art when it's just so easy to make it yourself. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like and comment down below. Have I provided any tips for you that you've learned today? Leave them in the comments and I'll see you next week. Goodbye now.